Right, hi there everybody. Good morning. Hope everyone's feeling good on a lovely Friday morning. It's been quite a week here in Scotland. I think we've witnessed every type of season, all just within 1 week, although it's a beautiful spring day today, so hopefully that's here to stay. Just to introduce myself, my name is Nick Cohen. I'm the founder and chief exec of Biz Anywhere, and joining me on the webinar this morning is Brian McFadden, who's one of our project technicians. You'll hear from him a bit more shortly. So I'd like to welcome everybody. This is our first webinar. We were overwhelmed with the response we've had from this. We originally expected it to be a small group, and we're delighted to have some of our existing users joining us, some other people that are considering Biz Anywhere and Office 365, as well as guests from as far away as the Philippines and the US. So this has been recorded and published. So thank you very much for attending. Now, work culture is shifting. Working patterns are shifting, and so must the tools that we use to boost our productivity. Companies large and small are more internally and externally collaborative, so we need to ensure that technology connects people wherever they are, using whatever device they have available, and can work simultaneously on projects and tasks together. Now this morning we're going to cover some of the background to the rise of flexible working, some of the needs we have when collaborating, some discussion around the differences between Yammer and Teams. Some of you may be using Yammer and start to spot the crossovers between the two products. And then I'll pass over to Brian, who will give you a demo and some installation tips before we'll summarise and head to a Q&A. So just to remind you, if you can please keep your microphones muted during this presentation, but please do throw questions through instant messaging. If you've not opened that yet, you'll see just a little speech bubble at the bottom left-hand corner of the window, and we'll probably come to those questions at the very end. Cultures all around the world are evolving at different paces to the idea of allowing their teams to work flexibly. Now, a study by the Centre of Economic and Business Research found that a work from anywhere attitude could add an extra £11.5 billion per year to the UK economy. Further to this, the same study revealed a staggering 96% of employees would prefer to work from home. So the big picture is a wonderful thing. The decision for an employer to improve their flexible working policy seems like such a small thing, affecting only those in the immediate vicinity of the organisation. Yet a collective step to mobile working has the potential to save workers an average of 533 hours. That's 22 days per year in commuting costs. And in the UK, they estimate that's a combined cost of £3.8 billion. 60% of the UK's 750,000 part-time working respondents said they would work more hours if they were given the opportunity to work from home, and that would create a further 1.6 billion in gross value added output for the UK. Now, come 2025, millennials will make up 75% of the global workforce. At some companies, such as EY, millennials already make up 60% of the workforce. Technology has ended the 9-to-5 workday, it's crushed global communication barriers and created transparent offices. And this has forced companies to rethink flexibility, meetings and even the layout of offices. So as this new demographic of workers continues to pour into professional environments and assume management roles, it's quickly become apparent that this is a generation focused more on the social, moral and ethical implications of their existence. Career longevity, personal well-being and freedom are more important to these men and women than money and status. Recent studies have shown that this generation, more than any other, are likely to leave a better paying secure job where they feel undervalued and underutilised. And this factor alone is forcing established organisations to adjust their attitude towards what a job is. Now, as you can see from the screen, technology since as far back as the 80s has been empowering this change. Now, if technology changes to a fixed location, evolution is not going to happen. So the creation of cloud computing, largely powered by Office 365 launch in 2010, is at the centre of this. People need to scribble down notes, plan projects and have a place to store files. People also want to be able to open these files and work together in real time. And from the smallest home-based SMEs to the largest corporates and governments, collaboration is at the centre of working culture today. It is rare that a task is delivered by a single person, and often projects are spun up. The rate at which organisations are innovating and becoming entrepreneurial is also rapidly increasing. Sometimes a project can last as short as a couple of days. And if we roll back to the pre-cloud days, a request would typically have to go from a project team to the IT department to create shared network folders, email mailboxes, and this slows the whole innovation process down. So people need to communicate collaboratively. An example of this is how a group of friends might communicate when they're organising a personal arrangement. So generally something like a Facebook group or chat would be organised, and rather than sending individual emails where you have to reply all and continuously copy people into your communication, it's posted on Facebook where everyone can see it and can comment and can collaborate together. Quick and sometimes unscheduled meetings are called, and this might be voice, similar to a Skype conference, or you might want to include video to give a real sense of a face-to-face meeting. Sometimes a quick discussion is needed more than just pinging text around. And people also need to be able to work from any device, from anywhere. And this is in line with what I'd said around flexible working. A team might need to congregate at 9 PM, where some of the team are in the office in the United States, but some are at home with their families in the UK. So we all have these devices in our pockets, our smartphones, and they're with us everywhere. So it's about having some technology that manages to bring all of this together. And this pretty much brings us on to Teams. So some of you will potentially already be using Office 365. Some of you might also be using Yammer too. And Yammer was bought by Microsoft, and I suppose the best way to describe this was partially integrated. It's available throughout 365, but you might have noticed if you've used it that it does sit to the side. It has its own chat function. It's separate from Skype, which you may be using Skype for Business, and the files that you store within Yammer don't link into your OneDrive or into SharePoint, which kind of has an extra level of disconnection. So it doesn't really join together and create this seamless end experience. Now, Yammer is still around for now, but most of its functionality for larger enterprises is slowly being integrated into what's called groups within 365. So there is the potential that Yammer will disappear. So the best way to describe Teams, to summarize, is taking all of the functionality that we've got in the Microsoft family and we've built up over the years, things like Word and Excel and the creation of files and instant messaging, all these apps, but rather than sort it by individual application, the way I described it there, it's actually being sorted by task or function within Teams. So within your team, you would create channels, which are essentially little sub-teams, which Brian will demonstrate in a sec. And you can chat together, you can create files together, you can throw in other services, which even though Teams has only just launched this month, there's already something like 20 external services you can plug into it. And suddenly you no longer have to hunt for files or through folders. Everything is where you'd expect it to be based on team or even based on project. So it changes things to the way businesses are now working. Rather than going in via application, you go in via team or via the function that you're trying to fill. So I'm now going to pass over to Brian, who will give us a demonstration and talk a little bit more about the technical and non-technical side about Teams. Over to you, Brian.
Right, thank you. I'm just going to share my screen, so give me a few seconds to set this in place for everyone to see. So, right, everyone should now be able to see my screen. Can you confirm that, Nick? Can you see my screen okay?
That's just appeared for me. It might just take an extra couple of seconds if anyone's on a slightly slower connection. Probably good to go now.
Right, so Nick has already kind of discussed what the implications of Teams are, so I'm going to take you through how to use it and some basic setup information. There'll be a lot more that I do not cover that we can help with outside, because obviously going through everything would take a very, very long time. So right now I have got my Teams open on my desktop. This is a desktop application, but there is also a web version available, and I will show you how to access them at the end. So taking you through what I see, on the left hand side I have my tabs navigating Teams. Starting at the top, I have my activity, which basically almost like a notice, it's basically a notifier that I see where people are talking about me or are mentioning inside channels that I am part of. Below that, I have my chat function. Now, chat is essentially a one-on-one or a one and more conversation outside a team. It can be a private conversation, or it can be a conversation that doesn't need to involve everyone inside your team. So the chat works very similar to Skype for Business for those who have used it. It is text-based, but also stores files and also can schedule meetings through it. So I am going to say hello to myself. at the moment I'm logged in as another user, so I'm not actually talking to myself on the computer, although I'm talking to myself in real life. So I'm going to say hello to myself, and I can see that message has came through. And on my other account, I am going to reply. So there you go, a simple text-based conversation inside Teams. Now, what makes this slightly different to the likes of Skype for Business is the file collaboration and the file access. So you can see along the top here, I have my tabs within my chat. So if I click on Files, it will be empty, but I can share a file in this conversation. Now, the way this works is it uploads your file to OneDrive, so it's backed up, and so you can collaborate on the file with the other person, basically working at the same time. So once it's in OneDrive, it then automatically shares it out. So I'm going to pick a file. I'll just do one of my guides. I'll do this next time. So there you go. So I am now uploading this document to our chat. And if I go back to the conversation, you can see this has now been notified, so the other user knows I've uploaded this document, and together we can work on it. So I can go into the document, still inside Teams, and have the power to edit it and view it. And again, this would be between me and the other people in the conversation, and I can bring a chat window on the right hand side so we can talk about the document as well. So all that is inside this one chat window, which makes it far superior to Skype for Business. So last thing to notice here, I've got the activity tab. This basically shows what activity users have been doing. I've not been doing anything lately on my account, so there's nothing to show, but I would see what teams are in, what conversations they're part of, if I have permission to view it. I can also trigger a voice call and a video call. Now, I'm not going to do that just now because I'm already on the video call with yourselves, but it works the same way as Skype for Business. It automatically calls the user clicks a button to answer, and they have a conversation, and then you can bring in the video if you want to look at the person as well. The next area I'm going to look at is Teams, which is, funny enough, the main focus of Microsoft Teams. So I have got two existing teams here. These are both test accounts that I have created for the purpose of this video. But I'm going to create a new team because there's a new department that needs access to the features that Teams offers. So I click Add Team at the bottom. Here you'll be able to see any public teams that exist, but we can set those permissions when we're creating a new team. So I click Create New Team here. My team name, this is for our projects department, so I will call it Projects, and I will give it a description. Descriptions are optional. The main reason you put a description in is if you leave the group private, it's so people know what the group is for. So again, public means that anyone can join without being requested to be added, or private, they have to be invited into the group. This is for a projects team, so I don't want everyone to access it, so I'm going to leave it private. I then click the next button, and it goes ahead and creates, and it asks me to invite people into the group. So I'm going to invite myself into the group, and I'm going to click Add. Now you can see it's listed me there, but it's also given me an option of permissions. So a person can be a member or an owner. Members can only work with inside the channels that have already been created, whereas an owner can create channels and add in extra features that I'll cover shortly. So I don't want this person making any changes, so I'm going to leave myself as a member. So the projects group is now created, so you can see it down the left hand side. It automatically creates a general channel, but I want to create more channels because there's not everything we do we'll cover under one channel. We want separate groups so that everything doesn't get muddled in to one conversation. So I'm going to click on the three wee dots here, and I'm going to click Add Channel. So I will call this channel a Project Discovery, and all this will be for notes for discoveries. Right, and I'm going to click Add in there, and that will create my channel in there. So now that's created, I can start typing in the conversation. Each of these channels has connectors into it, and a connector gives you added features inside the channel, so you can connect it to a SharePoint site, you can add Word documents into it. Just by simply clicking the plus button up here, you'll see that there is a range of add-ins. So you can add PDFs, there's your SharePoint link, you can add YouTube videos into it, and you can add a OneNote into it if desired. Now, I've already created these in my account team, so I'll just briefly take you through. So I have my conversation where everyone can see what's going on if they are part of that team. I have my files in here that are accounts files that are stored in SharePoint. I can pin these to the tab, so you can see I have got Pay Tables 2017, but I've actually mounted it up on the top here so that people can go straight in without having to open files, and they can access what they need to do. I also have a OneNote in here as well, so everyone can see these OneNotes and add their notes, and it will show if different people are editing them. It will show who's edited them by putting their initials next to each part of the note. Again, this is all about collaboration, this is about working together. There's no way to permission these out. If you are part of a team, you get access to everything. If that is a problem, you know, it's not really part of what Teams is designed for. The last thing I'm going to show you, the left hand side, is the meetings. So you can schedule meetings inside Teams with people part of your company. So if I click schedule meetings down here, I give it a title, so accounts meeting. Location is automatically chose Microsoft Teams meeting because it's a virtual meeting. My start date, my end date, and I can invite people into it. So if I do myself, and I want this to be an accounts meeting, so I set it to go to the accounts channel under general. Now the advantage of this is if I schedule a meeting in that channel and you forgot to invite someone, if they are part of that channel, they can join it just by simply clicking join meeting in the conversation feed. Another handy tool is the scheduling assistant. Now if I click on that, I can see, it doesn't tell me what they're doing, it just shows me their availability. So I can see that at 3 o'clock today, I am busy, but Joe is available. So again, I can click a slot where we're both free and click schedule meeting. Now, and if you go to the accounts teams under general, that's where I schedule the meeting, you can see the meeting has been broadcast again, so that people who suddenly maybe feel like they should be part of that meeting can join without having to be invited. If you wanted to do a private meeting between certain people, you would use the chat area and do a meeting with the button down there. You would schedule a meeting and invite them, and that would only be people inside your chat that would be able to join. That is the basics of Teams. I have set up a web address for people to access and download it. If you go to a browser and create a new tab, the web link is http://bizanywhere.co.uk/Teams. Click on that, it takes you to a download page where you can download the Mac version if you have a Mac, or the Windows version, and if you've got a 32-bit Windows or a 64-bit Windows. If you're on BizAnywhere, it's always a 64-bit, but if your PC, if you need any help, your IT company or ourselves, if we're an IT company, can assist you in making sure you've got the right download on that. That is the basics of Teams, because there's a lot more to go into, but we would be here all day if I covered all them. If you've got any questions, there is the put in the instant messenger, any messages, and we'll answer them to the best we can, and also you can contact us if you've got any questions and you need any answers. That's basically everything, so I will pass you back to Nick if you want to take over the presentation, Nick.
Fantastic, thank you very much, Brian. I think if you drop that, it should put me back in control. Let me just throw this back up. Here we go. Great, well, thank you very much for that, Brian. Just thought I'd quickly cover off eligibility so that everyone gets a quick understanding of how you can get Teams, or who's allowed to have Teams. So it's an Office 365 product, so anyone that is on this call just now that is a BizAnywhere user, you are entitled to Teams, so it's just a matter of getting the installation pushed through. It is very easy to do that installation yourself, but the help desk is available, so if you want to use the help desk to get that done, that's not a problem, the guys are there. Teams is also widely available to anybody that is using these listed plans with Office 365, so that's Business Essentials, Business Premium, Enterprise, E1, E3 and E5. And just to remind everybody, obviously Brian showed you the PC and the Mac installers. You can also install that on iPhone, Android, Windows Mobile, and one of the kind of key parts of the application is the fact that it genuinely is with you everywhere, and that's where the real power comes down to it. So just to wrap up and head over to Q&A, so if anybody has got any questions, please throw them into the instant message and myself and Brian will cover them off. I think the kind of main things to look at Teams is the succession to a lot of what has been brought into the cloud by Microsoft over the past few years. For those that we've trained over the last few years using tools like Yammer and Skype and SharePoint and OneDrive, the tools are all there and they all still exist. But I think one of the best things that Teams does is it brings it all into that one manageable place, and it also puts it in your pocket too, from this one app approach, which is absolutely fantastic. Even something just as simple as the Skype chat that Brian was showing you, so that's the chat function within Teams. It's exactly just the same as Skype. The functionality is exactly the same as Skype, but simple things like if you want to set up a video call. So give you a good example. I mostly work from home. I'm mostly connecting to people that also work from home or might even be in the office, our office. If we want a quick face-to-face chat in Skype, and I know this sounds really, really small, but in Skype you have to have a chat running. You then have to call them and then accept it, and there's a few steps involved in actually seeing somebody. Within Teams, you click one button, they click one button, and suddenly you see each other. If you want to share your desktop with that person, you click one button and immediately they see your desktop. There's none of this faffing and waiting for it to load. It's really, really, really nimble. But it also moves your faces neatly to the side and keeps the two running together. And actually, if you're both working on your own desktops at the same time and you're showing them yours and they want to flip it, they click a button and it flips. Immediately you see their desktop and the change happens. So that's one of the main things around Teams, is it's got user experience at the heart of it. And everyone, it's been kind of morphed around the way in which we actually work now. So I know it's made a massive difference for us. We saw Teams from its early days back in October when it crashed on us a few times and the apps weren't perfect. And where we are now in terms of its refinement is absolutely fantastic. Even simple things like if I'm sitting at my laptop and a message comes up on Teams, my phone no longer vibrates along with with Teams on my system. It knows what device you're using and it won't alert you on all of your devices. I don't know if anyone has things like iMessage enabled on an iPhone and an iPad, but when it comes through in one, it comes through in them all, and you have to read it more, and it kind of goes a bit bananas. Teams is really, really refined in relation to that, which is really good. I've seen a few people type. I'm not sure if that's questions that are coming through or if they've changed their mind, but please do. We can hang on the call till about 11. So if anyone does have questions, please just throw them straight in towards us. So that pretty much sums us up. As I say, Teams has made a pretty massive difference for our organisation, and we're starting to push that to clients. Also, we want to share that with you today. So that's a question coming through from Daniel Riley. Will the file integration work with existing Office 365 products so the files are available offline? At the moment, Teams is an online only product. If you aren't connected and you open Teams, it gives you a you're not connected type approach. I don't know, Brian, I don't know if you've got any roadmap knowledge on that one.
Well, no, in that kind of situation with offline files, the only way to do that would be through the OneDrive sync engine. But if you are linking into an existing SharePoint library, any changes you make via the OneDrive, other users will receive them as soon as you get back online.
Yeah, and just to kind of follow on from that as well, Daniel, when you create, so Teams is not a lot of new technology. Teams is just a collection of existing stuff. So when you first create a team within Office 365, a SharePoint site is created for that team, and a folder is created for all the different tabs where all the files get stored. So if you've got a tab within Teams, it's actually got a library in SharePoint that it correlates to, and if you've ever synced a library in SharePoint through OneDrive, that's a way of achieving it. So Teams as an app at the moment is online only, but as Brian said, because there's a SharePoint site, you're then able to sync that library locally, which works really well. We've got a lot of clients. I use that, myself personally, for just regular SharePoint libraries. So the functionality is there, but it's not available through Teams in its forward way. That will probably change. Where Microsoft are going to go over the years with Teams will be probably quite exciting, because I'd imagine we're going to start to see the kind of things like user interface and other apps starting to slow down the development and Teams get more. We might eventually, someone suggested to me, we might actually one day solely just look at Teams. You never know. That part of it, we don't know. We are partners with Microsoft. We aren't obviously Microsoft, so we're kind of speculating a lot of this kind of stuff. So hope that helps. If you've got any more questions, Daniel, please just throw that in. Alan Marshall, can you have multiple users in the video call adding to the project notes at the same time, reviewing project drawings, etc.? Yes, you can, Alan. So Teams uses Skype technology. So at the moment, the call that we're on just now, this is Skype technology. You can have up to 250 people on a call like this. So I don't know what Teams limitations are at the moment, but you can have multiple people. At the moment, Teams is an internal only solution. I've not seen any external stuff. So obviously with this call, myself and Brian are within PCR, the rest of you guys are external. So I'm not quite sure where Teams is going to go with that, but I'd imagine you'll be able to bring external people in. But if they're at the moment within your organisation, yes, they can come on the call, and yes, you can share material together. And I think part of the example that Brian showed when he was in that chat between himself and his test user, Joe, that he had set up, he threw that document into it, and you could see it in view mode. He could have edited that, and they could have worked on that together. So it comes down to the type of file. So any Microsoft-based file can be used in that way. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and PDFs can be viewed within these. And that's where they are with it at the moment in terms of the functionality. But we use that all the time. Even this presentation that we've shown you today, Brian and I used kind of real-time editing within Teams to be able to work on it together to make sure that we managed to get to a good point with it. If there's any other questions, please just throw that over. Cool, I think that might be us. No one else has said anything for a couple of minutes. So I think we'll wrap up at that. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming on to this call. I will go over everyone. Oh, we do. Oh, no. Thank you. You're very welcome, guys.
If you've got any questions following on, obviously you can see my email address on the screen there. So drop me an email and I can help where I can.
Likewise, I'll be pinging out an email. So this presentation, the webinar is going to be going onto YouTube shortly. So that'll be available if there's anybody, because there was more people we knew that were coming that weren't going to make it. So we will fire out the links and stuff shortly to that, as well as that download link, so you can get started on it. For those that are a PCR Viz Anywhere customer, please feel free to lift the phone to the help desk and they can give you a hand to get it installed on any devices. For those that aren't PCR Viz Anywhere customers, please feel free to give us a call and we can give you a hand, and we can maybe chat about how we can help you too. All right, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. See you later.